Jamie Foxx told E! News that he's never been interested in traditional marriage, and in fact, never marrying strengthened his bond with his 2 daughters. Have your views towards marriage changed over time?
My?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm of the mind of the conscious uncoupling. I feel like relationships work until they don't, and if you don't shift and change the relationship, it dies. And so there's so much to learn by allowing our relationships to grow and change and develop, and ultimately you find a more powerful expression of love between 2 people. And to put that in a way of like saying, if marriage is a dance and you're in a dance with somebody for a long time, do you only dance to the same song over and over and over? Or do you allow the song to change? And do you continue to dance when it's hip hop? Do you continue to dance when it's a tango? Do you continue to dance when it's like an opera? And I think that's how I view marriage and how I want to build relationships in the future, is just allowing them to be plastic and not limiting in both our growth and our growth together.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's a really good
I feel
analogy.
like, because you and I both have been in long-term relationships. You're married. I'm technically not married, although I did have a wedding. But I feel
with 2 wedding dresses.
With 2 wedding dresses. And I feel very married. When we were starting to think about it, we were just kind of like, I don't ever want to be called a wife. And he's like, I don't want to be called a husband. And we started thinking about, like, what do we want this relationship? It's not that we're not committed to one another, but I think we keep on refreshing and kind of, like, Sean, I feel like you'll appreciate this. I have said recently that I feel like I've been in about 10 different relationships. And some of those relationships have been on the rocks at times, and other ones, even during COVID, I feel like it has really deepened and strengthened our relationship. I just hope more and more people think about marriage, that it doesn't have to be, that's not the only one way you can go. Like, you can still be committed, you can still do all kinds of different things in your relationship, but it doesn't have to look one way. So either redefine marriage itself or just forget it. Why do you need it? I didn't need it. I didn't need it.
I never, ever, ever wanted to be married because of the way that I had framed marriage and seen marriage in my head. It felt very limiting. It felt very oppressive. I didn't want to be somebody's little wife. Like, I was and I used to be a wedding planner. Like, I love weddings. I love marriage for other people. I love love. I was just like, not for me. I was like the Nina Simone song, you know what I mean? Where she's like talking about, I'm just like, it's not for me. But, and now I'm married. I mean, Sean, you might not know this about me, but I am actually married, as I'm like, nobody should get married. A wedding is a sham. But it's like, I'm married to a man because I realized, like, oh, I get it. Like, when you're with a person that you really love, you can be committed for life. And like you guys are talking about, you can both grow and shift and change. And it's hard at times and it's easy at times and wonderful. And that's great. And that can also be marriage. I just never put those 2 things together. And I remember thinking, like, I wanted marriage licenses to have expiration dates because I thought people should have to renew over and over and recommit.
Honey, it's expired. Honey, you open up the fridge, honey, the milk is expired and our wedding is expired. What are we going to do?
I just get like a new dress every time and a new party every time. This is what I want. I just want more parties and more dresses. But yeah, I think that I get what he's saying about how not committing blindly to this thing that, you know, traditionally in some places in the world really does mean oppression for people. Not committing blindly to it is like you're choosing then how you commit to somebody else, which I think is a beautiful act of like defiance and love. It's wonderful.
I love I love these stories, a beautiful act of defiance and love to be with one person. And you know, it's an interesting way of thinking of it because it is hard to stay married. I am, like, in 10 days, 11, 12, I will be celebrating my 20th wedding anniversary. 20 years, and that's a long time.
Yep.
And as you're saying, Aisha, there is defiance. Like, there are things we had to push through. So, you know, Sean, you were talking about different songs. Like, one day, or I mean, like 1 month, it's an Adele heartbreak ballad, right? Oh, yeah. And then, you know, a month later, it's a dance jam, and everything's great. And then 6 months later, we're back to, you know, crying our tears away to whatever, Radiohead, the most depressing music ever. But I love them. But I mean, I think that, like, there's an illusion about how easy it is to be married. And I don't think that in the past we talked about or people talked about how hard it is to stay loving someone and to be loving and stay interesting. There was a time when like I told my husband, I was like, if you stay this boring, like we're in trouble. You know, and what I meant was like he had to bring something to our conversations.
Right.
He had to make me interested in him. And he took it. He took the feedback, and we're okay for now. But we may have to have a conversation. He might say to me,
I hear you.
You're boring. You're basic. Pick it up.
Okay, hang on. Can I read this? This might take us into a different direction. But Andrea on Facebook said, thoughts of being alone or divorced are still so taboo, so people don't explore anything other than traditional relationships. As I grow and evolve over time, so do my relationships. I find it hard to think only one person can fulfill all your changing needs for 50 plus years. Yes, Andrea, I love this also that I think we do need to talk more about the idea of just kind of like, maybe Jamie knows himself. Maybe Jamie's just like, I just need to be kind of floating between different relationships, and that's my best self. And as long as you know that, like, I think that that's, you know, he's not afraid of being alone, or is he? I don't know. You know.
I'm not sure that he's ever alone or lonely.
Yeah, he is Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he just hasn't. Right, but I agree with what our viewer said about, you know, you also don't want to make your marriage the only significant relationship in your life. You also have to be married in a way to friends. Yeah. You know, and treat those relationships with the same gravitas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people who think you can get like this person said, you can't get everything from one person. And even when you are married in a long-term marriage, you shouldn't be getting everything from that one person. Like, I'm not going to talk about my husband and my gripes with my husband to my husband. You know, I need my ladies so I can have a glass of wine and be like, you know what he did?
Yes.
You know what this fool did? Like, I need that space. I need time away from my kids. I need time away from my family. I need time away from my husband. That's just, I think we all have to have all those different aspects of your life and relationships to have a whole life where you can fully express yourself and then not be disappointed in one person who can't be everything for you, because you will be if you expect one person to do it all.
Yeah, I think that a large part of it is also we need to commit to our communities, and part of our relationships and our marriages needs to be essentially community building and making sure that we are investing so that we just don't have that one person carrying the burden of everything we need.
Yes,
so that
especially
we can have,
I was going to say, especially not when you start having kids. You don't want to carry just that one burden. You need to spread that burden out.